I didn't add a... Hi, everybody. Welcome to Friday Live Demos. Just realized I didn't put on a title, so hopefully people will figure it out. This is my new setup, so hi. Actually, I need to look at the camera. Hi. I'm going to tip this, though, so you can see my work. First things, let's see. I'm going to reverse the camera, flip it up, tighten it down, and then see, let's see if I can move it forward a little bit without tipping things over. Yay, that looks right. Good. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up where I left off last week. I was using this stencil, and I intended, best intentions, to throw it in some water. And actually, this was one that's actually pretty fine detail, and it's been compromised already pretty quickly by my mediums. And as much fun as I'm having manually picking it off the stencil, I actually want the stencil to represent what it, what the stencil shape is. And so I think I'm gonna soak that, which I almost never do. So I'm actually going to pivot, and I'm going to use this stencil today. This is a Paper Artsy stencil. It's one of their new ones. I think it's a Tracy Scott. So it is out in the on the floor if you're interested. And I'm going to use one of my colors today. Oh, you know what I don't have? Ooh, I don't have my wedge. What did I do with it? I think it's all the way over here. Sound of feet running. Oh, and there's another stencil. Let's grab that too. All right. Pays to be prepared, Ingrid. Note to self. All right. Actually, I found another stencil when I did that because it was sitting over with the stencil I used the other day for one of my little videos on Instagram. We've been playing around with those like everybody else. So hopefully you caught that. That was kind of fun. And okay, so I am going, actually I like this. I like this a little better in terms of how it interacts with this page. And I'm going to use my personal concoction here. This is, I've called this sunflower, but it is a yellow that I have mixed in with a light modeling paste, a golden light modeling paste. So the modeling paste has a little bit of a crusty, that's not the word I'm looking for. What is the word I'm looking for? Like a papery finish. Let's see if you can see it. So you can see maybe that there's a little bit of a texture already before I even put it down with a stencil. So a little like frosting. I say that a lot. And so I'm just going to throw down, and you can see the yellow kind of works with the colors I had already going on here. I'm going to add a ton more layers, so it will get obscured, but I like this start for today. Okay, look at that. Nope, I'm making a mess over here. I'm just going to scrape some of that yellow on. So that is this version of yellow. This is the original. And then what I do is I put degrees of color into an ombre. So, when it comes down to it, I have all of these different variations of the same color. I haven't labeled these because I'm behind in lots of ways. And so this was the mid-tone. I'm going to dry it up a little bit so that I can work with it. And don't forget, at 1 o'clock this afternoon, I will have another live in which I show you stuff that's just come in. I don't have a box to open today, but I do have a bin full of stuff waiting to be put out that I will show you. And lots of good stuff in the back room waiting to be categorized and put out for you guys. I've expanded my art supply section too, so if you're looking for good sketching, drawing tools, I've got more of those. If you're looking for good paint, I did invest in the golden fluid acrylics. I also brought in the Liquitex version, which comes in this fun little bottle. Let me see if I can find mine. No, maybe not. Where are my bottles? I brought in the golden flats, so you'll see these on the shelves shortly. So yeah, lots of new stuff coming in. Kind of super excited about it. I'm going to throw some of this down because it's in my hands. Let's see. You know what? I'm just going to tip it. It's pretty fluid and pretty bright. Let's see what happens. I scrape it down. Now, I like doing this where you get a little bit on your squeegee and then you scrape it across texture that you've put down, and then it hits that texture. And so this I'm not so into, but this, what's happening here, where it's kind of hit those top bits. Let's see what happens if I add some water before it dries. So that liquefied it a little bit and spread it around a little more. Let's see, a little more water. Underneath this is some canvas that has been gessoed. So you can water it down and move it around. And look what it's doing with this yellow that I have on here. It's getting pretty bright. And where it's liquefied, it has moved in around the texture that's already down there and highlighted a little bit. So I like that a lot. Yes, I'll do. And a little more here. Let's see if I can spread that out. Yeah. Don't forget to say hi. I am watching and would love to see who's there. Hey, Lois. Hey, Jasmine. Hey, great. Wasn't looking at the right screen. Okay, so let's see. What am I going to do next? I actually want to use this fluid golden. It's really bright. So I've got a gold on here that's sort of an antique bronzy gold. And let's see what happens down here when I add this fluid gold by golden. And this is going to be a little brighter. And this is their iridescent gold deep. And it's fine, which means that the mica bits in it are very small. They have a coarse one that's... This is not in the shop yet. It's on order. It's on its way, literally. It's one of those companies that sends it immediately. So it's in a box, in a truck, on its way here, and will be here soon. And lots of colors, not just the gold, but I must admit the gold's one of my favorites. Look at that. Look what it's doing there. So you can see how fluid they get when you add water. Do that scrapey thing again. Fun. And then I also have the Liquitex version that's coming into town or into the store. I love them both. I love both brands, actually. They're both great, great, great brands. Okay, so that was liquefying it. Another thing you can do is not drop your tools. Okay. One thing you can do is throw down a little on a piece of paper like this and pull your brayer through it. And what you want to do is get a nice even layer on your brayer and then come in and just roll that over the texture you have on your page already. And what it'll do is it'll highlight the texture that's there. And pull some depth in that way. And then you highlight things in the background fall away, and the texture, the contrast is a little more obvious. So some of the elements on my page are not dry, and so it's interacting in a way that's kind of fun. And that pink's being picked up. So that's kind of a fun layer. Alright, I'm going to dry this up a little bit, maybe add some more texture. Playing around. And, you know, I'm going to be showing you new stuff at 1, but don't forget, you can also tell me if there's something out there that I don't carry that you would like me to carry. I'm all over bringing in what you guys want. I'm here for you, so if you're like, someone just texted me about the Julie Nutting dolls, which I haven't indulged in a while, but I do have some of her older stuff. But, you know, if you want it, I will bring it in, if I can. Rare that I can't. I can usually find things for you. So this is the lighter tone of this same paste. So these are the same color, just one's been diluted with white with the texture paste, so it's less pigment. And you can see the contrast quite clearly here, where they're next to each other. Same base, just a different amount of color mixed into it. So that's kind of fun. Blast that dry a little bit. So at this point, I've got 4 or 5 different stencils going on. I've got this dot. I have this like floral pattern in the background. I have this Art Deco one. I have the one, this jacquard that I put down here. That's 4. I've got this in the background. Oh, that's that one that I have. That's right. That's that one that has a bunch of different patterns on it. Actually, it's right here. Staring at me. So there's this one that I've been using that has both that floral pattern and the swirls. It also has a clock on there, which I have not used. Okay. So I'm going to do something that I like to do and that I like to make people do in my classes. And some of you are going to freak out, but it's okay. Promise. Promise. It'll be okay. The whole point of this process for me is to get that moment of, look what I did. And I love what's going on here, but I really want to step it up. So I am going to change the tone. And this is a dye ink, so this is fluid, and so I'm adding some water so that it gets a little more liquid. And I love doing this to my pages when there's a lot of different disparate pieces going on. One, it pulls it together. Right now this is a 2-page spread and they're both sort of equally speaking to each other. But also I get moments like this where I have multiple layers of texture and color, and the colors interact with each other, and the texture pops back up again. And like on this particular section, I had some gold, I had some bright pink, I had the original color, I think was the red that was underneath there. And you can see that the blue's interacting with all of them, and there's little peaks of them. And as this dries, I will get some nice rich interactions. So I know there are people out there who have heart attacks when I do that, but for me, it really elevates what I'm working on. And then I get, because this is so much of my my materials, so many of my materials are water soluble, when I add a liquid on top like that, it changes based on what's underneath it. And so I get these lovely interactions. And you can see that the paper texture, the papery texture of my of the modeling paste has absorbed the color. So that was yellow with a blue over it. So now I've got this green tone. And it really highlights some of the stuff that's going on my page. Look how green it is over here. It's really green. And then I've got this rich turquoise came out of it on this side. It's the turquoise. Seth Apter's turquoise. Speaking of Seth Apter, keep an eye on this space. Who knows who might pop up? Tease. Okay, I'm going to keep going. There's a lot of space on here that has almost no, like just has the initial color that I put down, and I'm just going to keep going with this because why not? I'm having a good time. And I think with this one, let's see, I'm going to go with my darkest yellow. Not my base. I keep my base so that I can mix more. But this is sort of the first iteration of it where I put the most in. So this is the Stamperia stencil. I think it's literally called Clocks and Swirls or something like that, but it is for sale. It's on the website. You know, give me your feedback on the website. We've organized it, and honestly, there's some things that we got wrong. So let me know what you think. You might test kittens on this one, and let me know what works and what doesn't. If you've made an order from the website, I'd love to hear that. Let's see. I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to do a little more of that same stencil, but I'm going to use this actual. So this is the modeling paste with nothing in it. This is just how it comes out of the box, out of the jar from Golden. And I have to tell you, I had a chance to speak to a rep at Golden, and his last name was Golden, and I said to him, is it a family company? Because I just assumed it was called Golden because, you know, paint, colors, whatever. He said, yeah, it's a family company. My great uncle started it, I think, is what he said. And it's run by a variety of Goldens, and they were just the nicest people, I have to tell you. They really earnestly believe in high quality products, and they're family owned and operating in the US, in New York, and I was just really happy to find all that out, because how neat is that to find something that you love already has these great roots in the country, and you know, family and family is neat. Again, why do I shake my heat gun? I do not know. It's like the Polaroid thing. Changes nothing. Does not make anything heat up faster. Just emotional. Just emotional. Alright, I'm going to add another dye ink. This time I'm going to go pink. I'm going to use Wild Rose, which I'm pretty sure is the Seth Apter Wild Rose. Water it down a little bit. So even if it dries, it's, you know, you can water this one down because it's water soluble. Sure. You know what? This is so compromised by paint, I can't tell. I do have several heat guns in the store, Martha Stewart's, and then a couple of brands. They vary in price and things like that. And I like this one because it has plastic all the way up to the tip, which lessens the chance that I will hurt myself with it. But yeah, all the ones I carry are decent and are safe. So, okay, what am I going to do next? I'm going to pull in some of this turquoise modeling paste that I made up ages ago. This I made up with not a light modeling paste. The light one tends to have the grainier texture. This one is, let me see if I can make sure that it's in focus for you. This one has a shiny texture. So it may, actually I'm pretty sure that this is the Ranger brand. And that shiny texture and the opacity of the texture paste means that it's going to maybe be a little translucent when I put it down and thin it out. So that can be a lot of fun, but know that if you get it thin, it might not present very strongly as a color. My wedge doesn't fit in there, so I just used the spatula to grab some paint. And that smudged because I moved it. So let's do another set here. And I don't like it looking like I just plunked it down, so I'm going to come in and, actually I like that. So usually I come in if it looks too square and I just scrape a little bit extra of the paste around so it looks like it's a continuation of something. Alright, so here's a good example of the paste being translucent and interacting with the color. See how it's picked up some of that modeling paste, or sorry, dye ink that I've sprayed on there, and is interacting and changing. So now I've got this sort of purpley color, which is what happens when pink and blue interact. So I'm just going to go in, and I've got some stuck on my wedge. I'm just going to throw it down in places. Some of this texture is not dry, and so it is interacting, smudging. There are a lot of wet layers on this now. I like where this is going. Got some interesting color, depth of color, and maybe if you remember what it looked like at the very beginning, kind of see where it's gone based on the various layers I've added in. It's gotten a little darker, a little less bright and yellow, even though I've added more yellow, surprisingly. And that texture paste that I just put down dries to a matte finish. So that shine, I know it's dry when the shine disappears. I have a lot of wet layers. I've got some muddiness happening here. So I might step away from this for today and then come back to it next week again and just keep going. I don't think I've ever done that with a spread with you guys, where I've done it 3-4 weeks in a row. So maybe I'll come back to this again and keep going with it, because for me, I like where it's going. It's getting complex and deep, and I've got moments that are really interesting where very, very subtle reminders of the texture that were, the first layers of texture I did, and some of that original color is still peeking through, but getting more and more obscured as I add more. But this buckling that's happening is because it's damp, and so I feel like I want to leave it and let it really dry out before I add any more layers. Let's see. Make sure that seems focused. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to call it good. Let me see. Loosen this wrong way. All right, Angharad. Let's figure this part out. All right. I need to practice that part of the transition, but it's good to see you guys. Thanks for joining me, and join me at 1. I will be unpacking a bin for you. All right, see you then. Bye.